Let's talk about what, in my opinion, are some of the most interesting places to explore for a treasure hunter in Arizona. Fort Verde is an almost forgotten military fortification east of the town of Cape Verde in Yavapai. Fort Verde's heyday was in the 1870s when it was used as a primary base in the cavalry units under General George Cook. Despite its age, many of its stone structures still stand today. Montezumas Castle can be found also in Yavapai County, near the town of Rimrock, just off I-17. Montezuma's Castle is one of the most intact relics of the past from Native American civilization in the southwest USA. Its defining features are the most prominent houses carved into the sheer cliff during the 13th century. This site is also surrounded by a number of other places of archeological interest. Canyon del Chelly is located near Chinle, Apache County, comprises hundreds of dwellings, similar to those that could be found at Montezuma's Castle. These dwellings were carved at the base of steep red sandstone cliffs and are said to have been built by the Pueblo Indians between the 8th and 14th centuries AD. In the 1700s, a community of Navajos conquered and settled the dwellings. These Navajos would harass the white colonizers for much of the next few centuries. A particularly bloody example occurred in 1805 when a troop of Spanish soldiers engaged a band of Navajos who ambushed them at the place called Massacre Cave. Another engagement was recorded in 1864 when a man named Kit Carson routed a large force of Navajos in the canyon. Other ruins built by the Pueblo Indians lie nearby at places named Canyon del Muerte, Monument Canyon, and Black Rock. Casa Grande Monument. So Casa Grande Monument is located around 2 miles to the north of the town of Coolidge in Pinal County, near State Route 87. The Casa Grande is a spectacular tower made up of packed walls stacked 4 stories high. It is believed to have been constructed by the Hohokam people for ceremonial purposes. The Hohokam first arrived in the area around 400 BC and would leave in the middle of 15th century. The monument stands in the middle of nearly 90 mud buildings. Tonto National Monument. Tonto National Monument can be found approximately at 28 miles of State 88, due northwest of town of Globe in Gila County. This landmark is also dominated by cliff dwellings. Over 100 of these homes were carved out of the cliff by the Salado Indians during the 14th century and would be abandoned roughly a century later. The Salados were proficient at mining gold and silver in the area, and thus many artifacts made from these precious metals have been found there. The mission of San Javier del Bac. This mission stands about 9 miles south of Tucson, just by Mission Road. First built by Jesuit missionaries in 1692 amidst a village of Pima natives. It would fall under siege when the natives revolted in 1751. It was said to house a considerable collection of treasure, which the missionaries were said to have successfully hidden before they were all massacred. San Javier del Bac was burned to the ground, but was rebuilt in 1767 by a group of Franciscan missionaries and still stands to this day. The Tubac Presidio ruins. They lie 45 miles to the south of Tucson in Santa Cruz County. Tubac Presidio was a military outpost made up of over 50 brick fortifications built by the Spanish in the 1750s and abandoned in 1776. Sometime after this, Mexican forces would occupy and rebuild the post in order to protect the miners, who had found plentiful deposits of silver. In the early 1850s, Mormons who were traveling to California used the outpost as a stopover shelter. In 1856, a group of Texan miners used it as a base of operations. If you enjoy this program, please like it, subscribe it, and share it. The Fort Yuma ruins. These ruins are the remains of an old fortified town built on the banks of the Colorado River near modern town of Yuma in Yuma County. Fort Yuma began as a Spanish mission in 1700 until its destruction at the hands of belligerent natives. The catalyst for what would ultimately became Fort Yuma was the beginning of the gold rush in California in 1850. The fortified town was built and became a crucial focal point, and later it became a communication hub. Many other relics of the 19th and early 20th century could be found nearby, and this includes the territorial prison, which was constructed in 1873 and rendered defunct in 1909. Coronado National Memorial. Coronado Memorial can be found 30 miles to the west of Bisbee in Cochise County off State Route 52. Coronado National Memorial is the remains of a village of mason rock inhabited by the Zuni Indians, who received the Spanish explorer Francisco Vasquez de Coronado. Coronado, along with over 1,300 soldiers, came from Mexico on a mission to find the legendary seven cities of Cibola. They arrived here after 5 months of difficult travel and were dismayed that the Zuni owned only a meager amount of gold. Still, they would rest here for several months until they decided to follow hearsay of gold further east. They would eventually end up in Kansas. But their journey to the Zuni village took its toll, and they left behind most of their heavy equipment, including a battery of bronze artillery. These artifacts, if found, would prove to have a tremendous value today. Tuzagut National Monument. This place can be found around 33 miles due southwest of the city of Flagstaff, off US Route 89A. Tuzagut is made up of a highly fortified Native American village resting on a hillside. This village was built sometime in the 12th century and would be left behind by the Sinagua natives in the middle of the 15th century. Walnut Canyon Monument is around 8 miles to the east of the city of Flagstaff, just by I-40. More than 300 cliff dwellings built by the Sinagua people could be found here, carved in the depressions of a canyon 400 feet deep. This settlement was built around 1065, and was abandoned in the year 1200. Wupatki National Monument can be found off US 89 around 45 miles due northeast of Flagstaff City. This national monument is made up of more than 800 stone dwellings scattered across several mesas, built by the Hohokam and Sinagua. Built around the year 1100, This was a thriving settlement until the year 1225. A large number of artifacts, both silver and gold, were unearthed at Wupatki. The Fort Bowie ruin lies 13 miles due south from Bowie in Pima County of State 86. Fort Bowie was constructed in 1862 near the remains of a disused stage station. It was deserted in 1894. Hubbel Trading Post can be found a mile to the west of State 264 in Apache County. Hubbel was built in 1878 to trade with the Navajo, primarily for the fine silver work. The old Hubbel Trading Post fell to ruin in the year 1900. A more modern trading post was built nearby. Navajo National Monument is located 32 miles off State 64 southwest of Canyon in Apache County. The Navajo National Monument is home to three of the most grandiose Pueblo cliff structures. These were built in 1225 and were only vacated sometime in the 20th century. It is also the site of a substantial number of archeological finds, including spectacular amount of gold and silver jewelry. If you enjoyed this program, please like it, subscribe it, and share it.